Good day, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity for us to share today. My name is Dan de Guzman from Moxa. I'm responsible for the semiconductor industry in the US. I've been with Moxa for 4.5 years. Prior to that, I've worked in the semiconductor industry for 20-something years, most recently at Broadcom. Prior to that, Lucent Technologies, and I'll date myself, started off at AT&T Microelectronics. I'm joined today with my colleagues, Felipe Costa and Marty Wachi, our resident cybersecurity experts. So the agenda for today, I have a few slides on Moxa intro and our Semi customers. Next, I'll hand off to Felipe and Marty, who'll cover Semi E187 cybersecurity and how Moxa helps our customers secure their networks. I'll end with a summary takeaway slide. So I want to introduce Moxa since many of you may not be familiar with us. We are an industrial connectivity company. We've been serving the industrial automation segment for over 35 years. Of our 1,600 plus employees, 40% are dedicated to research and development. We're a global company headquartered in Taiwan. We have connected over 94 million devices. So just one slide on our just super high level portfolio slide. So we offer edge to cloud gateways, wireless and 5G products, secure networking products, and as well as serial connectivity customers to assist our customers transition to Industry 4.0. And specific to the semiconductor industry, Moxa has collaborated with key customers for over a decade. We've earned the trust of top global wafer fab equipment makers. Our solutions are in more than 100 fabs worldwide, and over 100,000 Moxa devices have been deployed in facility monitoring control systems, automated material handling systems, and wafer fab equipment. So that's my Moxa short intro. I now want to hand it off to Felipe Costa and Marty Wachi, and we're going to talk about Semi E187, the specification for cybersecurity for fab equipment. So Felipe, over to you.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Felipe Costa. I am product marketing manager at Moxa Americas, and outside Moxa, I'm also working pretty closely with ISA organization. So I'm official instructor for 6443, and in Brazil, cybersecurity director. So I hope bring here some light regarding 6443 and how we are approaching cybersecurity. So our first slide here, I'm not really sure how much all of you are familiar with the 6443. So I will bring here some highlights and why Moxa is using this standard as a framework for tailor our cybersecurity strategy. And we have many things to bring in this slide, but due to time, I will bring just 2 highlights. Basically, this is a comparison among many frameworks that we see on the market. And the first highlight that I would like to bring here is basically the wider the area here, basically more coverage in terms of cybersecurity perspective we have. So it covers basically technology, people, and process. So as you can see, IEC 6443 has a big coverage and overlaps with many other frameworks like NIST. And the second highlight that I'd like to bring here is basically based on sector. We have specific standards and frameworks, for example, NARCSIP, 623, 51, and all of those are very specific for segment. And in the case of today that we're talking, Semi E187. So the second message here is basically 6243 has a lot of, let's say, commonality with other frameworks. Specifically in the case of E187, we can consider basically a subset of the 6443. So every time that we are saying here 6443, we are basically saying that a lot of the requirements, per se, all the requirements brought by E187 are contained inside of 6443, and we will explain more the rest. As you can see, the area is much broader. So we will also explain why we have this broader coverage and how we are approaching that. On the next slide, like I mentioned,
I have a quick question, if I can interrupt.
Sure.
What are the three legends: energy, IT, and automation? Why is 187? Sure. Why is 187 under energy? If it is,
which one? Pardon.
Yeah, let me try that one.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
So the IEC 62443 is an industrial cybersecurity standard, and we have these three segments: energy, industrial automation, and intelligent transportation. Those are because those are the other market segments that Moxa addresses. So I think this was we chose to support 62443 because it covers all these different segments that Moxa addresses in addition to the semiconductor segment. Does that answer your question?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Dan, I appreciate the follow-up slide. Thank you. So again, I don't know how much you're familiar, so I'll give just a general overview about the structure of 643. And we have what we call tiers. We have 4 tiers, basically. And the first one is what we call general, that covers basically the structure of the standard. And also we have the concept and models that are the base for develop all the requirements contained on the standard. The second tier is policies and procedures. Basically, it drafts some recommendations to end customers and system integrators how to provide cybersecurity and draft their strategy in terms of cybersecurity. In the last 2 tiers, basically we have system perspective. So once I have all the components combined and working together, we need to tailor a strategy for that. So we have 2 main books here, basically how to assess the risk assessment. So how we define the risks on the system, and also the requirements for who are providing solutions. And finally, the last tier that we call component, that translate more to Moxa perspective, as we are product manufacturer. We have 2 main books here that we call -4-1 and -4-2. -4-1 basically defines all the structure to develop, keep, maintain, and also retire products. So basically all the mandatory steps to keep a product secure in cybersecurity perspective. And the -4-2 is all the requirements that a product itself should have in order to be cybersecurity resilient. And the standard calls fundamental requirements. We have SAB perspectives. So basically, when we say that we are certified -4-1, we are saying that we have all the policies, procedures in place, and Marty will share more details on this later. And when we say that we are certified -4-2, it means that our product was submitted to a test, basically hack the box, and it passed containing all the cybersecurity features recommended by the standard. So I hope if that it brings a little bit more light regarding the structure of the standard, and also we translate a little bit more why we are bringing this conversation when we are comparing with the standard that we are talking today. Could please the next slide, please, Dan? Great. So as you can see, when you start the conversation and I received the documentation for the E187, we start to read what are the related documents. And as you can see, we have basically 3 books from E643 as a reference. So one is more general, the other is a little bit more related to system integrators, and the last one is basically what we call security requirements and security levels, how basically we are drafting our strategy, how high we want to have our barrier regarding cybersecurity perspective. So with that, we start to read the document, And the result is basically what we are showing here. You will not go in details at this point, but definitely we will receive that mapping where we basically took a look in all the requirements that are 12 regarding cybersecurity, and we saw, based on our strategy, how we would translate. So basically, you can see that all the requirements we are complied with, and Marty, we will explain basically the rest of our strategy that goes above and beyond of these requirements. So basically, I believe this is my last slide, correct, Dan?
One more.
Oh, okay, yeah, one more. The other side note that is important to share with you guys, reading the document, we saw that we have a very specific coverage in terms of the Purdue model. And as manufacturer, Moxa has solution basically to all these levels. As you can see, we are providing them basically brought here in the early beginning. We have products for the level 0, 1, 2, 3, 3.5, and 4 mainly. And highlighting here, basically switches, firewalls, routers, IPSs, and IDSs, our cybersecurity portfolio. But considering the coverage of the Semi E187, what we can see as an overlap is basically the layers from Purdue model perspective, 3, 3.5, and 4. So this is what we consider in our analysis, but it's good to know that besides this coverage, we are also providing solutions in the other layers as well. So I believe that pretty much covers my section then.
Okay.
Great. Where's yours, Marty?
Thanks, Felipe. I'm Marty Wachi. I'm the product marketing manager for some of the networking products and some of the security appliances. So I'm going to kind of take you through a couple slides of kind of the marketing version of kind of some of the stuff that Felipe kind of went through. So this would be kind of like, again, a holistic approach that we have to our security solutions model. So if you start at the top under secure development, that was part of that 62443-4-1 piece that Felipe was talking about, where, you know, we have our factory certified, we have processes put in place so that from a life cycle management perspective, we have a secure development process to try and ensure that when the product does reach you or your partner, that, you know, we've done everything that we can to minimize possibility of any type of tampering. Obviously, there's the product piece that Felipe was just talking about, the 62443-4-2, which are the product features. You could break the products down into like two categories from a security perspective. There's the vertical security, which is your perimeter defense, which I'm sure all of you have to some extent, and probably actually pretty good from what we've seen so far. The emerging area is really the horizontal east-west security. This is the application visibility into systems using things like intrusion detection and prevention, virtual patching, giving you that layer 7 visibility into what's going on in your network. And we're seeing a lot more going on in this particular area. The third leg is really the secure management. What we're finding with all this digitization that's going on is that, to summarize, you know, it's really not effective anymore, scalable to try and manage these devices at the device level. So you need software tools that interoperate with your larger security SOCs and SIEMs and other IT related tools to be able to monitor, report, and manage all of these things. So we have kind of two main platforms. One, our network device and visibility platform, MXP1, which is more your traditional network management. And then we have, for our horizontal security, the application visibility security policy manager, MX Security, that kind of manages this at a higher level. Another important part is education and partner programs, doing things like this, making sure that our partners are well versed in the products and trained to be able to support you guys. And then finally, the support and advisory piece. Every single product eventually, you know, has some vulnerability that needs to be addressed, and making sure not only do you have the support in place, but having a dedicated security advisory team like we do that basically goes and responds to the different published discovered threats and then works with our engineering teams to work on mitigation and eventually patching those solutions. So this is kind of what we're doing at a high level in terms of like these like 5 categories. So one of the things that we did want to share with you guys is that, you know, all of you know this is a marathon, not a sprint. So we've been on this journey for a long time and will continue to be on this journey much longer. So Felipe kind of covered what we're trying to do with the different 62443 initiatives, but we're really going beyond that. And as it relates to this group, being that, you know, it's the E187 is just kind of a subset. We started this journey getting our factories certified back in 2019, and now all of our networking stuff is certified. We've now gotten products in each of our major product categories certified, like what Felipe was talking about at the device and feature level. And now we're kind of moving on to phase 3 and 4, where we're really trying to do this holistically across the company and really have security be part of our overall brand DNA, and really seeing that security and reliability, that's really important to all of us, or kind of go hand in hand. If you don't have good security, it's going to be harder and harder to maintain that reliability that all of us are going after. Dan, if you can click at one. The other piece that's kind of going above and beyond just the 62443 is that secure development process, the PCERT we talked about, making sure that we've got the open source compliancy. So there's a lot of things that we're working on to try and, you know, pull all this together. So Dan, if you want to go to the next slide. So this kind of, I think, is a good marketing slide to kind of just go through where do we play in the network and what are we doing exactly. So as Dan mentioned, we are a industrial connectivity company, but very specifically, we're an edge connectivity industrial company. So if you look at this table here, starting like with the blue, we're at the very edge of these networks. So connecting the devices that are controlling factories, pumps, conveyor belts, PLCs, HMIs, sensors, traffic lights, all of those things, we're directly starting to connect them to the network. And then moving that up to like the green section where we then have some of that traditional perimeter defense where you've got your managed switches, your routers and firewalls to create that segmentation. And then up on the orange section, having the tools to manage and create the visibility. Now, one thing that's really important, if you don't take anything else away from my slides today, is that we're not trying to give you the impression that Moxa is going to be like an end-to-end security OT supplier, because we're not. We really focus on the edge, and we're really designed to complement what I'd consider your more traditional IT, OT security players like Cisco and Fortinet and Palo Alto, where they're not going to have products designed for the very edge of the network that you see here. So in a lot of the cases that Dan mentioned, where the traditional IT core OT security, maybe Cisco as an example, they're using Moxa on the edge, as you see here in this picture here, where our products tend to play, and you know, a lot of our competition doesn't have the form factors and the types of devices that we do. So that's kind of in a nutshell where we play.
Next slide.
Last slide for me, I believe here is, again, we came in here talking about E187 and how, you know, our goal of 62443 is kind of a superset. So I think one of the things that we wanted to mention here is obviously Moxa is not a security company. So what we did to help us along is we created a joint venture with Trend Micro, which I think most of you probably have heard of. And the joint venture is a company called TX1. And basically, Moxa is the hardware portion of it, Trend Micro is the software portion of it, and the resulting company is creating endpoint-based security for OT networks. We are using some of this technology in some of our other security products to power our IDS, IPS, and others. And I think the reason why we wanted to mention this is that a lot of the E187 contributors, authors are TX1 employees. So having some of that brain trust within, our related sister company, I think is important, that we wanted to share that with you guys.
Great. Thanks, Marty. I'll close our segment today. So just a key takeaway slide. Just to recap, Moxa, we've been in this business for over 35 years, and along the way, we've served the semiconductor market, over 100 fabs and over 10,000 Moxa devices deployed. Semi E187 is a subset of IEC 62443. And then outside of the scope of E187, there's some non-technical elements that 62443 address, such as product lifecycle management and supply chain. And then there's, on the technical side, it doesn't address Purdue model layers 0 through 2, which Moxa has products in that, for that segment, and they are secure and 62443 compliant. So then the Moxa cybersecurity focus is 62443. We've said that a number of times. And lastly, Moxa is here to assist you with your cybersecurity needs. So thank you for the time. I think we're at the 20-minute mark, which was our target. So appreciate the time, and feel free to contact me if you want a deeper dive or just more information. Thank you.